Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It is officially race week. It is Tuesday, Tuesday of race week. We're going to Chicago this weekend. Doing it in very dad-like style. We got a busy weekend with Reagan. Her and I are going with our family to see the Iowa men's basketball game on Friday night. They play here in my hometown this weekend at a little bit more of a neutral stadium. So we're going to see them play, and then she also has a basketball game on Saturday morning. So the goal was, with all these races, is to make sure it doesn't conflict anything. So I do live about 2.5 hours from Chicago. So she has a 12 p.m. basketball game on the outskirts of town, right by the interstate. So we're going to go see her play. She's really starting to enjoy basketball, so I just don't want her to miss anything. And then hit the road. I have a 7:40 start time, so we'll still be there in plenty of time. But I have some friends and I have some clients that are racing, so they're more around like that 6 o'clock start time. So I want to get there and support them, as well as I have some family in Chicago. So Reagan's going to kick it with some of my cousins and their kids, and then we'll enjoy a Sunday funny together in downtown Chicago. That being said, it's race week. It's time to really focus on the taper, and I have been tapering. We did have a massive event at my gym this past weekend. Was pretty taxing on the body in a very low impactful way. So we broke up into 6 teams of 3 this weekend, and the main object around the workout was a max effort row for 4 hours. So at the top of every hour, starting at the first hour, we hit the gym floor and we did a 12-minute intensity workout. It was 30 seconds of each station, of 3 stations, station number 3 being a rest. So it was max effort 1, max effort 2, 30-second rest, and you and your partners rotated through those, and they were intense. After that, we did a 3-minute rest. We had tons of adult beverages here, hydration, food, donuts, coffee. Like, it was just it was like a fitness marathon in the CrossFit community to taking the competitive side out of it. We were just having some fun, putting money for charity, and then it was max effort row for calories for 45 minutes. And we did that 4 times. So I was a little beat up on Sunday from all the row. We really ripped the rows pretty hard. That was kind of more your score, was your max calories on the row. And so, as I would normally have done more of a Hyrox style workout, maybe like a quarter sim or a half sim at maybe lighter weight, I just kind of looked at that as all right, I did 4 intensity workouts, 12-minute intensity workouts with, for me, 45 minutes of rowing at a pretty solid effort. So there's fitness to take out of that. And that being said, I also signed up for the Dallas race the weekend after, just based on my schedule with my daughter, based on kind of the work I did September, August, and October. I don't get out of town much, and I came across a very cheap ticket, and so I took it. So the weekend after Chicago, this weekend, I'm actually going to fly out Saturday morning, the day of the race. This race probably will not go very well for me, but that's okay. I have some friends down there that I do these races with, and I know they're not coming to Chicago this year, so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take advantage of the day, and so I'm flying out Saturday morning. Men's pro, I think, is going to be between 4 and 7 o'clock, and then I've got almost a midnight flight back home. So it's a 1-day trip. But you just never know. Some days you just wake up and you have a day, and maybe getting a taste of it in Chicago. Chicago, I'm going to go for. Chicago, I'm going to go for a big race. And that's kind of today's point of the video, is to kind of give you a breakdown of my Hyrox Chicago 2023 and go over the splits of that race and what I think I'm going to run this weekend in Chicago. So, but let's go over today's workout, the meaning behind it, and a little information to kind of help you with your next Hyrox. Okay, so we're in a taper time. I brought the mileage down to, I think I'll put it up here. I'll kind of give you a little bit of a Strava detail of kind of where I've been at, what last week looked like. Last week's running mileage would have been a little bit higher but I knew that Saturday big competition workout thing that we did was gonna take it out of me. So I got my quality in. I got a long run in. I got my track work in. That was a solid workout. We did 1 mile, 1,200, 800, 400, and then 4 by 200. That was kind of my last big speed workout. And I honestly, you got to be nice to yourself in these points of training where like that was a week where like, all right, I'm really starting to feel the training. Like this is the point. If you feel like shit, that's totally normal. I got done with that workout and I was like, that I nailed it. I nailed the splits. I didn't try to bite off more than I could chew. I wasn't trying to prove a point that I could go faster. Devin wrote the splits and I nailed the splits. And I didn't do them at the track. I actually did them here at my gym, which has a lot sharper turns, like with the alley and the sidewalks, and like working on decelerating and then accelerating again. And honestly, on those little decelerations, like took a couple big deep breaths and like brought my heart rate down in that little itty bitty time, and then like got right back at the pace. And I think that really showcases how much you need to do intensity work in Hyrox training. And I've done a ton of intensity work. So that's what we're going to kind of focus on today. Today, all Devin really had for me was just a 2 mile warm up and then like 4 to 5 by 200 at like stride pace. So it's just a simple turnover workout. It's not, we're not looking to build any fitness off of it. It's just to simply keep the legs moving and yeah, just kind of keep that good fast running form in the back of my brain. So where the little kicker I'm going to put into that, as I know with that not really being like a big purposeful workout, is like I'm going to add something to it. So I'm going to do a 1.5 mile warm up, and then I'm really trying to dial in this bad boy. I ski all the time, and I just, for some reason, cannot seem to find a damper, an effort that is just like, this is manageable for me. I can do this effort for 1,000 meters, and I can get off, and I can get right back up to pace. That being said, big shout out, Rich Ryan. He had a really helpful podcast about the skier this past week, and I have been someone that has been experimenting with a new type of pulling, almost like more of like an inverted sit-up, and using more of my trunk, using more of my core, using more of my kind of like my middle extremity power, and not just pulling down on the handles. That works, but it was just trying to find, okay, where does my damper need to be? What does my stroke rate need to be? And what does my metric per 500 need to be at, to where I know this station doesn't impact my race in a negative way. In a positive way, it's also not going to affect you in a way to where you feel like, oh my God, I lost so much time. Like there's so many stations in the future that you can get your time, you can gain time. This really just is not one. If I ski 155 per 500 and you ski 2 minutes per 500, all right, I gained 10 seconds on you, but let's say it ruined my next run, or like it really ruined the rest of my race, and it didn't affect you at all. Like, you don't think you're going to make up 10 seconds here? No, that's definitely not the case. So I'm going to do my 200s and then immediately into a 350, maybe 400 meter ski at what I think is going to be my goal race pace. So good rule of thumb from Rich is he says, take your 2K ski, whatever your 2K ski base benchmark workout is, and take that metric and add 4 to 5 seconds. So if you're someone that skis 150 per 500 for a 2K, like bring that up to 154, 157. And that should be a pace that's still a really good Hyrox effort, but it's not something that's going to ruin your next run or ruin your heart rate going into the sled push or especially the burpee broad jumps. Like, my goal is to be able to walk into the burpee broad jumps and be like, okay, my race starts now. I'm willing to, for how bad my burpee broad jumps were last year, and like how decent I think I am at the sled push. I want to be able to mix, to kind of blend those first 4 stations in. But hey, man, we're looking to just be chill. And I know that my fitness from what I've built over this last year is that if I can get out of burpee broad jumps and not be like, okay, my race can start now, then it's farmers, it's lunges, it's wall ball. I'm going to give it a good rip. But if you give it a massive rip to start off the race, there's a good chance that you're just not going to get there. So that's today's workout. We're going to do 5 by 200, 350 into a 350 meter ski, hopefully at race pace. And then I'm going to jump right back on that treadmill and 400 meter at like probably a little slower than race pace, and just kind of see like, is my heart rate coming down? Do I need to make adjustments here? And that's one thing that's super important with Hyrox, is taking down that information. Is not just coming in and doing Hyrox workouts, is going in and getting information like, okay, like how is my form? How is my breathing on the sled push? How is my stroke rate on the ski erg? Do I need to make adjustments on my row after the burpees? Like, you need to have that information. You can be fit as you want, but if you're unfamiliar with the sport, you need to get that information dialed in, or you're probably just wasting money going to these events thinking like, well, I'm just super fit, I can do all these things really well, but can you do them all together? So, and having that information, I mean, it's right there in front of you on these machines. And not trying to bite off more than you can chew, because the one thing that can happen in those races is the adrenaline is out the roof, and you are so jacked, you're so pumped, and you ruin your entire race in the first run two, and ski. And all of a sudden you're like, dude, I'm smoked. And that's all you start thinking about. You start thinking about like, oh, that's all this is going to be like. It's all it's going to be like. Well, you made it that way. It can be very chill if you take the correct rest and you do the correct effort. So, gonna get this treadmill out, get one of the skiers over by there, and get to work. All right, workout is done. I still got to cool down. Watch was on treadmill, so I was wondering if the treadmill, being on treadmill, if I just let my watch run, and if I have to make adjustments in my Strava or whatever, my Garmin, like I'll go and make adjustments. But like trying to always like at least like keep track of my mileage every week. And I don't, if I do a Hyrox workout, I just put it on treadmill and I just let it run. So I'm on the treadmill. If I'm on a ski, if I'm pulling on a ski erg, I think my heart rate is coming down because I'm on treadmill. I think if I was just on like cardio or workout, my heart rate would read a little bit more accurately. That being said, there's always a delay. I feel like when it comes to conditioning heart rate, just on the watch, like I said, like take these with a grain of salt. If you really want to get down the metrics of your heart rate, like buy a chest strap or buy an arm strap. And I definitely need to invest in that as I'm getting more specific in the sport. But my zones they might be inaccurate based on my actual internal heart rate, but like I know when that heart rate starts to say threshold from aerobic, like I usually feel that way. I usually could be like, man, I bet I'm getting close. And I look down and I'm getting close. That being said, being on such a short interval on the ski erg, it's going to take a while for this heart rate to start to come up. And my goal was to run hard, ski well, probably a little faster than race pace, and then recover at a faster pace for 400 meters. And I nailed it. We did 5 rounds. My treadmill only goes up to a 10. So I put it at 1.5 incline and 10 miles an hour or whatever it was. And I think that correlates to like 5:55 pace, 6-minute pace. And so that was my 200-meter effort, just enough to kind of get the heart rate up a little bit. And then into a ski, I did every ski about like 149 to 153 per 400. And then I would drop it down to 9 miles an hour at 1.5 incline, which I think is probably like, we'll just call it like 7-minute pace. And I recovered every time. I would say like a little, like maybe 100 meters into the recovery run, my heart rate started to elevate. And it wasn't from the run, it was from the ski. So if you're someone that's just going off watch and you're running inside and you're at a Hyrox, know that like if you come on the burpee broad jump, like, oh man, my heart rate's still really low. Give it some time. I guarantee you that monitor, that reading is going to eventually elevate. So, but the nice thing about the run though was that once I got to the back end of the 400, my heart rate was starting to come down. So it's nice knowing that at 7-minute mile pace, even at 1.5 incline, treadmill's a treadmill. I am very fit. I am substantially fitter than I was last year. So the fact that my heart rate was coming down at that effort where I have another 600 meters to run to recover on at that. And if I can recover at 7-minute pace, it's going to be a good weekend for me. And moving my damper down to a 3 compared to I've been training at a 5, probably like 3.5, just slightly above 3, and taking my stroke rate from 30 up to 35. Yeah, I was pulling a little bit faster, but it's just less taxing on my body and changing up my stroke rate, stroking up like my stroke. Just being able to use a little bit more of a full body movement and not like just arms or just powering through like the lower body. I just was able to get back on that treadmill and just get right back to work. So I said I was going to go over my Chicago splits, but I'm going to call that the video here. And tomorrow I will take myself to a nice big hearty breakfast, as tomorrow will be Wednesday. So it's definitely time to start thinking about implementing more carbohydrates, implementing more hydration to absorb those carbs, as carbs are going to pull a lot of water from our body. You need to start implementing more hydration. And that's not just something that we need to do the day before a race. So thanks for joining me today. Gonna cool down and I'll see you guys tomorrow.